linear function or not. And how do you know? Let's look at two lines. You can see that one of them is horizontal, right? And the other one is vertical. And if you asked, okay, so which one of them is a linear function? You would say, well, both of them are because they're both lines, right? Well, you would be wrong, actually. Because a function is not just any curve. There has to be something called, I guess, graphically, we talk about something called vertical line test. But generally, what is the difference between a function and not a function? Okay, so imagine that you're going to Walmart and you're asking, okay, this plate, how much does it cost? Okay, that plate will cost $3. This apple, how much does it cost? That's going to be 50 cents. Okay, so each product has only one answer, one price, right? You're not going to go to Walmart and pick up the same exact plate and get two different prices for it, right? That's not possible. So that would mean it's a function. But, for example, if you're asking, okay, well, this plate may be sold not just at Walmart, but also on Amazon, and maybe sold at the Target or whatever, and each store may have a different price for it. So now you have the same product, but three different prices, or however many. That's not a function. For each x, there could be only one y. And where does it fail? Does it fail for horizontal line? Well, no, because each x value has just one y value. So, for example, for 4, it's going to be -7. It's not going to be anything else, okay? And what we talk about is what's called vertical line test. So just imagine that if I were to draw any vertical line, just imagine that I'm drawing a vertical line like this. Okay, how many points is this going to intersect the graph? Only one. And it doesn't matter where I'm going to draw that thing, right? I'm only going to get one intersection. Okay, but what happens to a vertical line? First of all, there's nothing there other than when x equals -5. But when x equals -5, if you were to draw a line through that, well, let me make it green or something so that it's different from the thing. Okay. Actually, I get infinitely many intersections because every point over here, every point, right, it's going to have x equals 5, -5, I'm sorry, but different y. So this guy, the vertical line, is actually not a function. Okay, and it's not a linear function. It's a line, but it's not a linear function. And in terms of the equation, what's the difference? If it's a horizontal line, then you should just say f of x equal to what? Well, whatever is this value. So that would be -7. Okay, so in the choices here, it's just going to be f of x equals -7. Beware. It's a favorite mistake to pick -7x. That's not correct. That would change as x changes, f of x will also change, right? Because if x is 1, then it's -7. If x is 2, then it's -14. That's not right. So the right one, where it's just -7, no matter which input, it gives you the same output. Now, what happens with the vertical lines? So we already discussed that that's actually not a function. But how do we write an equation for it? You cannot write it as f of x equals, because again, it's not a function. But instead, a vertical line will always have an equation x equals something. And what is the something? Well, x equals -5 in this case. And y is any number, right? And look at any vertical line should start with x equals something. It may be counterintuitive why this vertical line starts with x, but just think that x is fixed and y is the one that's changing.